So you're pretty close on the name. My name is Jem Labarta. Thank you. I'm a citizen of the Navajo Nation, and I currently work for Universal Service Administrative Company, or USAC. So today I'm just going to do a quick overview of the programs that we provide, a little bit about the company, but more about my role at USAC as the tribal liaison. I'm new to the role. I just started in November, and they are trusting me to come out here and speak with all of you to give you some more information. There we go, I think. That's the pointer. Okay, well that's me, everyone. That's my contact information. I also will be around this entire summit as well to answer questions and chat with you all. So here's just quick agenda. Again, it's lightning round, so I'm going to kind of just plow through these a little bit. You can go to the next slide. So at USAC, really our purpose is to work at 3 different levels: at the community level, infrastructure level, as well as the individual level, and we accomplish that through our 4 different programs as well as our congressional response program. Next slide. Can go again. Thank you. So at USAC, a little bit about the programs, or about our company actually, is that we are an independent, not-for-profit company, and we work alongside the FCC. They really make all the policy, and we just do what they tell us. But that includes informing and educating our audiences about the different programs that we have, collecting and distributing contributions, as well as promoting the program compliance. So these are the programs that are administered by USAC. We have ACP, or the Affordable Connectivity Program, as well as the Lifeline program. Those 2 are ones that really we see a lot of participation within tribal communities, because there is an enhancement, which I will talk about in a little bit. We also have our schools and library program, also known as the E-rate program, and that one provides funding for broadband services to eligible schools and libraries. We also have our rural healthcare program, or RHC, which funds telecoms as well as broadband services to eligible rural healthcare providers, and also high cost, which some people working in Alaska may know a little bit about, because there is a specific funding, the Alaska Plan, which is quite extensive, and I'll briefly touch on all of these programs. Next slide. Thank you. Go again. So the high cost, or also it's commonly known as the Connect America Fund, it really works to expand access to really rural and hard to serve areas across America. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the high cost program, what it does is it ensures that rural and areas where service would be at an extremely high cost, we can work to guarantee that they're provided access to broadband and voice services at a reasonable rate. On the next slide, you'll see that something that makes the high cost program quite unique, and many people at USAC like to talk about how complex and how special the high cost program is because the FCC is they designate the areas that get served. So if you do consider, and you are, next slide please, and you are in a very rural area and you would like for the FCC to deem your area eligible for high costs, it is really not for any of us to determine that. It really can be a frustrating point because it is the FCC that makes all of these determinations. But what we do is we ensure and monitor that compliance is being built out to these areas. There are some very useful tools on our website for tribal nations to validate and verify that telecom companies that are claiming they are building out to your community, there's a way to verify that on our site. And if, say, the telecom company took the funds and said that they did serve your area, but you clearly can verify that they haven't, there is a way to alert the FCC and work with them to get that map to accurately represent your land. So that is something that is very useful for tribal nations and tribal communities, because there are oftentimes telecom companies that we see that sometimes say they're working in community and with community, and in the end we see that they're not. So if you want more information about that, I am more than happy to provide that for you. You can go to the next slide. Our next program is Rural Healthcare Program. You can go to the next slide. There are two components for RHC. There is the Telecommunications Program Fund, which provides voiceover and other telecommunication services, as well as the Healthcare Connect Fund, which funds broadband services, equipment, and other related costs. So we do see that this program is really helpful. We see a lot of IHSs applying for this and other small rural healthcare programs. But we actually, what's really exciting to me is that the RHC, or Rural Healthcare team at USAC, are really interested in working more closely with tribal communities, getting out in community and creating a pathway for tribal programs, healthcare programs, to kind of better navigate the system, because some of the application processes can be quite difficult. But what I really think is special about the RHC team is that they're doing this without being told by the FCC that they must. So we do see a lot of collaboration from the RHC team. You can go to the next slide. The E-rate program is one that I quickly learned about, because it is a program that we see a lot of schools and libraries utilizing to get discounted internet service, or also, I can't think of the word right now. You can go to the next slide and I'll think of it. But it allows for schools to apply, as well as libraries to apply. There are going to be some restrictions on that, but the eligibility is that it could be a public or private school, also charter schools. And one really great thing that the FCC acknowledged and realized was that there was a big gap in service to tribal libraries. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see that in 2022, the FCC made a rule that confirmed that tribal libraries are eligible for E-rate funding. And it's really exciting, because through that order, we saw that there was a large need for these tribal libraries to start applying for E-rate services. So we initiated a tribal pilot program where interested libraries were able to apply and be part of it's really a small cohort. It was about 20 libraries that started out, and they had an assigned tribal library advocate who answered very specific questions, helped them with the application process, and provided lots of resources and really one-on-one assistance to get through the E-rate application. And so what it does is it allows really for a discount of 20 to 90% of the internet, really 20 to 90% discounted off of their internet. Sorry about that. You can go to the next slide, where we talk about Lifeline. And Lifeline and ACP are two programs, like I mentioned, that lots and lots of people know about or need assistance with, because they're both really large programs. You can go to the next one. So the Lifeline program, it provides a discount to your phone or internet including like based on income and household. But your discount could be anywhere between $5 and $9.25, depending on the type of service that you have. If you go to the next slide, you will see that there are some of these tribal enhancements, which really are great because one thing about the tribal benefit or enhancement is that it actually doesn't matter about what really determines you receiving this benefit is the land that you live on. And the land is determined by the Census Department. So I just want to let you guys know that can be kind of complicated and sometimes undermining sovereignty, but the FCC, again, has made those rules, so I just want you to know that it's based off of the census. And so with the enhanced tribal benefit, you can get up to $25 monthly applied to your initial base discount of $5 to $9.25. So not only does is it based off of your income, but there are some other qualifying programs that can get you qualified or get the applicant qualified, including BIA or the Bureau of Indian Affairs General Assistance, or a tribal TANF program, as well as Head Start and the food distribution program. So those will get you automatically approved for the benefit. So you can go to the next slide. And the next program, next slide, is ACP, or the Affordable Connectivity Program. Very similar to Lifeline in that it gives you a discount on your broadband or phone services. Next slide, please. But here, this is really easy to understand image here, that it's a program that helps low-income families pay for broadband services. But what's really great is you can combine both Lifeline and ACP. That's something that quickly found out that many people didn't know, is that these two can really help support the individual, the consumer who's applying for these benefits. So the standard discount is at $30 there. And again, if the consumer is on tribal land, there is an additional 75 tribal discount. And then there is that one-time device discount for, you can see there, for a laptop, desktop, or computer, or a tablet. There is a copay that is required, and a lot of companies work hard. They definitely work hard to ensure that they're able to offer these devices to the consumer. You can go to the next. There we go. So again, if an individual qualifies for Lifeline, they can also qualify for ACP, and also use that verification to get their application approved rather quickly. So just if you have anybody who is applying, definitely ensure that they are applying for both programs. It's really helpful. I have shared this with my own family to try and get them to apply and use these benefits, because as Davida mentioned, not a lot of people know about the tribal enhancements, not a lot of people know about ACP or Lifeline. So it's really, I think, really important to share this information. You can go to the next slide. And how to apply for ACP, it's very similar to Lifeline. There are 3 different options, and the 3 different options can meet the individual at whatever level that they are. And there are great resources out there along with our websites, but also there are digital navigators who are moving mountains to get consumers connected. You can apply online. The application, I've gone through the application. It's really basic information, and it can get a little tricky, but what I always tell people is, like, if you don't know, we do have customer service lines for you to call and get help. You can also apply by mail. There's the application available online, or you can apply with a service provider. The service provider does have to get the applicant's permission and, of course, their information. But what's really great is that these three options, they go through a process where it pulls information to quickly verify you. So you would just provide like your social security number, your ID, and it should run it and run through the system and be able to get you either approved right away, which is great for those who have that information on hand. And if not, then there will be like a prompt to tell you what information is missing. Sometimes you might need a verification of a letter. Say you are participating in Tribal TANF, you may need that letter. Or say one of the options to verify your identity is also like a tribal ID. But I let my team know, I was like, that doesn't apply for everybody. Navajo Nation, we don't have tribal IDs. We have CIB numbers, or even further back, I have my family card, which has these other numbers that don't align to anything else that I have. And I let them know that that can become difficult and that we definitely need to address how we can better assert sovereignty and assert that we are acknowledging how tribes, that some tribes do have tribal IDs and others don't. And that also making it very clear that if you don't have a tribal ID, it doesn't disqualify you from the tribal benefit. And so that's something that I always really stress is like, again, it's not about your citizenship. It's not about your enrollment. It's about the land on which you live. So just know that there are multiple options to apply, but there are multiple ways to get verified and then to begin to receive the benefit. So you can go to the next slide. So I don't know if these are going to be posted, the presentations or anything, but I have some information here for you as well. If you wanted to go to our website, go to any of the sites that will help with the really consumer-facing ones like Lifeline and ACP. But if not, I'm sitting in the back and will be around. If you wanted to come, I have some cards, but I also have some like one-pagers that will talk a little bit more if you are interested in helping a school or library apply for E-rate, the application process, as well as a little bit more offline. So you can go to the last, I think it's the last one. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for making space for me. I don't know where, but this was a really great opportunity. And I, again, am here this entire time to really just be a resource to you all. USAC hasn't had a tribal liaison for a while. And so I really am grateful to be here and hope that I can be of service to your communities and to you all. So thank you very much.